Hey there everybody, and welcome to another episode of Pinal Prep Spotlight, brought to you by 911 Air Repair, your local air conditioning expert specializing in maintenance, repair, and new installations. We are somewhat in limbo, not that much because we know who's playing later on in the week, but to start off the week, Florence plays on Tuesday as we are recording this. We don't know the outcome of that game, whether they win, will they continue on later this week. If not, they're done. So we're going to talk about what we do know, and that is we basically have one team left. That is Santa Cruz Valley Baseball. They play on Friday. They are the number 10 seed. They will be taking on number 7 Benson at 4 p.m. in Goodyear. At a ballpark out there, you know, they have a lot of different fields. They don't get the fancy one that the minor league player, not the minor league, spring training uses. But anyways, that is besides the point. We got to talk about Santa Cruz. These Dust Devils are making their first state tournament appearance in nearly a decade, about a decade around there or so. David, you have seen these Dust Devils. What do you expect from them in this matchup?
Well, first of all, I'm really interested to see how much their layoff affects them, because the last time they played was last Wednesday on April 29th. They're not going to be playing for almost a week and a half. So that could, you know, take guys out of rhythm. I'm sure they'll be getting some practice reps in since that time, but still, that's a long time to not be in a serious, you know, game time scenario in those situations. So this is going to be interesting. They're going to have to overcome, but I think this team is perfectly capable of overcoming that because of the talent they have on this roster. For me, it all starts and ends with their starting pitcher, their freshman Lane James, who has been an absolute, you know, just ascendance for them this season. He has been a really solid starting pitcher. He's done it at the batter's box as well. I'm looking at some other young guys they have too, as in a guy like Adam Montillo, who's a sophomore. He has done a really solid job for them as well. They have guys all over this lineup that can contribute, and what they do best is play the small ball game. They love to bunt. They love to bunt and get runners over. They love to take the extra bases. They're not going to slug away. They're not going to hit home runs. What they are going to do is use their athleticism, use their speed to their advantage, and get on base and wreak havoc on those base paths. Can their defense hold up? I'm sure it could, but it all starts at on the pitcher's mound and then in the batter's box, getting that small ball game going. This is a pretty evenly matched team set here. I think Santa Cruz definitely has a chance to get the upset. They're only separated by 3 ranking points here between the 7 seed and the 10 seed. So I really think Santa Cruz has a very good shot of getting out of this range here and getting a chance to move on to the next round. They've done a really solid job so far this season with the guys that they have. They're getting contributions from young guys and old guys as well. So I think this is a really good team, and I think it's going to be a really fun matchup. I would not be surprised if they get the upset, but it just depends on what team shows up on the road this Friday.
So David mentioned them having more than a week off. Now this can work positively or negatively against them. Like David mentioned, they don't have that solid competition of playing an actual game, but because baseball does have pitching restrictions, having over a week off, that means everybody is available, whether it's James starting up on the mound or Richard Reyes Jr. You know, you have options for guys whoever you may want to pitch. The downside here is if Santa Cruz does win on Friday, then they go back at it again the very next day at 11 a.m. on Saturday. So you kind of have to pick and choose. You know, who do you want to start? How long do you want to leave them out there? Do you want to go the whole game, or maybe potentially rest them up, you know, depending on how things look for Saturday? Looking at Benson, they have a lot of different guys that can hit, like Kellen Deskins, Dawson Jude, Raleigh Evans, and then pitching. Pitching is the same thing for Benson. They have a lot of different options. Evans, Deskins, and Tyson Kilpatrick. All of these guys have over 30 innings pitched. And the thing about this Benson team is they don't give up walks easily. So Santa Cruz is really going to have to bring its A game and focus on what's coming at them at the plate. David, anything else you want to add?
I'm glad you brought up pitching restrictions are not going to be a problem for Santa Cruz, because we've seen those so far this postseason that pitching restrictions have been a detriment to some teams. First thing I point to is Vista Grande. They threw Aiden Montiel in their play-in game. He was not available for their playoff game, and they ended up losing and being bounced out of the playoffs here. So it's going to be a huge factor for them that they're going to have all their guys available. If Lane is not doing a great job, they can bring someone else who doesn't have any restrictions whatsoever. So that's going to be a huge benefit for them. It just comes down to which team shows up here, and can they get their offense going, and can the pitching hold down a really solid Benson lineup? We'll find out.
As always, be sure to check out Pinal Central for all of your local sports coverage.